Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's video, that's going to take us to the 17th of October. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at the CFSV2 for the next month and beyond at the end of the video. So really wet October is developing, and it's been a while since we had a very wet October, of course. I think you have to go back to 2012 since the last time we had a really thoroughly wet October. Before that, probably 2004 and 2000, of course, the year of the tremendous floods in that autumn of 2000, which was very wet from beginning to end. So it's been a little while since we had a wet October, and I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be quite a wet month when we come to the end of March. There's no sign of an end to this unsettled wet weather. Certainly not in the next week to 10 days and not beyond, really. I'll take you through all of the charts, though, in a moment. Just to say that we released, of course, the 6th Winter 2019-2020 update yesterday. It was an hour and 6-minute epic dealing with the QBO amongst all of the other things that we look at. So, very interesting watch, I think. Do check that out if you haven't seen it yet. We did a live stream between 5 and 6 o'clock on the YouTube channel talking about that winter update and taking questions. And we did a little bit of screen sharing, showed a couple of models in that as well. So you can have a replay of that on the YouTube channel, and it's also embedded on the homepage at GazWebBids as well. That runs to around an hour, and we took loads of questions in that as well as doing that little bit of screen sharing. So that was quite a fun hour yesterday between 5 and 6 o'clock. So do check out all of the weekend developments if you'd like to do that. We also released a little written update for Christmas, so the Christmas updates page is underway at GazWebBids. Have a read of that. There'll be another couple at least of written updates before we get to the video Christmas updates, which always start on the 1st of November. So not all that long to go, only 3 weeks actually before the Christmas video updates get underway. The year really is getting on now. Right, so let's get on with this update, and we're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. So we've got a disturbance area in the tropical Atlantic, this orange X just here. It's actually a little bit north of the tropical Atlantic, so it's a bit of a different one, this. It's what they're saying is disturbance 1 with a 40% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. They're saying a non-tropical low-pressure system is expected to develop along the frontal boundary of the central Atlantic Ocean between Bermuda and the Azores by tonight. Gradual development of this system is possible while it moves slowly westwards, and a tropical or subtropical depression could form on Tuesday or Wednesday before upper level winds become unfavourable. There's a 40% chance, medium, that this will become a cyclone, either tropical or subtropical in the next 2 days. A 50% chance it will do so in the next 5 days. But then they are saying conditions become unfavourable later in the week. So that probably won't end up as a hurricane, but we'll have to see. And of course the hurricane tropical storm season continues. We're past the peak probably, which is nearly always in September, but October can be a pretty active month in the tropics in its own right. So we'll wait and see how things develop in the tropical Atlantic over the next 2, 3 to 4 weeks. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the Penn State University for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. Red and orange extrapolating to high pressure, blue to low pressure. These take us up to the middle and just beyond middle part of October, getting us to the 17th of October. You can see it with the ECMWF. We've got a deep area of low pressure, a deep trough sitting over and to the north of the country. There's a ridge to our south. and the jet stream is coming across the Atlantic. It's an active jet stream too, indicated by the tightness of the lines there. Active jet stream coming across the Atlantic into the western north of Europe, and that just looks like a very, very unsettled middle part of October, to say the least. Low pressure is really in control there and will be bringing plenty more wet weather with it. The GFS is very similar. The only difference is that the ridge is kind of a little bit more towards eastern parts of Europe, but it's the same idea for us, really. Low pressure is well and truly in control out to the north and west of the country. Deep area of low pressure with a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic. Both the models are indicating that the middle part of October and beyond into the second half of the month likely to be very unsettled, with plenty of rain and wind to come. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're at Birmingham today, so the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Birmingham. We're starting off a little bit on the milder side at the moment, actually going to dip away through the middle part of the week, then temperatures lift up a little bit towards the end of the week before dipping away again. In fact, you could say we've got a little bit of a zonal sine wave here. We've got warmer and cooler sectors alternating with one another until we get towards the latter part of the ensemble, and then of course we start to lose that sine wave as the options become a little bit less obvious. So in October, when you have zonality, generally you're going to come out quite close to average with the temperatures. It's the last month, really, October, that will deliver sort of the average temperatures from a zonal flow. After October, when we get through to November and then into winter zonality, will nearly always finish up milder than average, particularly when you get into winter, but it is true for November as well, really, because even though you will think it averages out with warmer, colder sectors alternating, of course, even in the colder sectors, in winter, they're not that cold, and if you've got a strong westerly wind, you're not going to get night frost, or very rarely will you get night frost with a strong westerly wind. So October's really the last month when zonality will give something different to a warmer than average month, and usually in October, when you have zonality, the overall temperature for the month comes out quite close to average, although it does depend where the origins of the air are coming from, because even in October, if the origins of the air a lot of the time are coming up from the tropical Atlantic, then it will be a bit warmer than average with this zonal flow, but probably not a particularly big deviation in the next couple of weeks. Quite close to average, I would have thought, overall with the temperature, and very unsettled. That continues to be the signal, as I said at the start of the video, for the foreseeable future, which is kind of like the next week to 10 days. Plenty of rain to come, showers or longer spells of rain. That's day 10, 17th of October there, and beyond that it just stays unsettled into the third week of October. It's looking unsettled, regular rainfall spikes coming through. There's no sign of an end to this wet spell that set up in the final 10 days of September. These are the temperature anomalies for the next week from the 7th to the 15th of October. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland, close to average. England and Wales, just a little bit above average. It's not a big deviation. So we're not going to be that far from average, but for the south, it's a little bit milder than average in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies from the 7th to the 15th of October. They're looking average to wetter than average through most parts of the country. Western areas tending to be wettest. Elsewhere, close to average with the precipitation anomaly in the week ahead. Temperature anomalies in America are looking quite cold through many parts of the states, below average from the northwest down through this central part of the states, down through the Midwest, looking colder than average there. Over on the eastern side of America, it is a bit warmer than average up the east coast. It's a bit warmer than average out to the southwestern part of America as well, but in between, large areas of states actually looking quite cold in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies for America, very dry in the west and the southwestern states. Generally quite dry through most areas. There are some wetter states, particularly up to the north, but I think averaging it out, many parts of America are looking quite dry in the week ahead. So that's how the GFS is looking for Thursday. And Thursday is going to be a classic case of sunshine and showers, really, with a strong westerly wind. Low pressure, of course, to the north of Scotland is the main driver of the weather, and we're bringing in this westerly wind. So sunshine and showers, really, for Thursday. Friday could just get a little bump of high pressure to our south across France. That might bring drier conditions in the second half of the week to England and Wales, and probably quite warm there as well. Temperatures could pop up into the upper teens Celsius, especially on Friday afternoon, given a bit of sunshine. But low pressure is still dominating out to the north and west, and there is a front that's sort of strung out and stuck across the north, trailing back into the Atlantic in that sort of position, with ripples of rain running along that front. So for the north and west, looks quite wet at the end of the week. For the south and for the east, possibly a little bit drier and warmer. And that front then shifts southwards as we get through to the weekend. So Saturday probably brings a very wet day to England and Wales, whereas Scotland and Northern Ireland could be a little bit drier, but perhaps a bit cooler. As we go through into the second half of the weekend and into next week, low pressure is never far away. There's another sort of front that's going to be in that sort of position as we go through into Monday. Again, that could bring further pulses of rain, and watch out for this low that's down towards Portugal, because that could contain some very heavy rain within it if that comes our way. And it could turn very wet indeed early next week. We're into the middle part of next week now, with low pressure still dominating the weather. There's just a little bit of a build of pressure, though, taking place again across some central parts of Europe by day 10. Which is the 17th of October. So we're looking unsettled still, low pressure being further rain in the north and west, but the south and southeast could be a bit drier, and again, maybe another push of slightly warmer air from the south with that one, actually. Then into the extended range, just stays unsettled, low pressure continues to be driving in from the Atlantic up to as far as we can go with the GFS run today, which is to Wednesday the 23rd of October. It looks very unsettled still. So you do get the idea that this is shaping up to be one of our wettest Octobers for a very long time, I think. GEM looks like that, showery and not particularly mild on Thursday. Into Friday, it's a bit drier in the south and a bit warmer then, up to the north and west, cloud and rain, and then that cloud and rain shifting southwards into England and Wales on Saturday. Might get stuck, actually, this wet weather over the weekend, bringing quite a sodden sort of weekend. As we get through into Sunday as well, we could have more persistent outbreaks of rain. Could be continuously wet, actually, some southern parts of the country, Saturday and through Sunday as well. Finally, that low pressure and that weather front develops into this sort of quite deep area of low pressure by Monday, but that does push everything through, and we turn probably a bit drier early next week, also a little bit cooler as well. There's that slightly drier phase of the south through the early part of next week. In the north, still looking quite wet and windy, and it doesn't take long by day 10 before we're pushing that cloud and rain back down into the south again. ECM is looking like this, so showery and quite windy on Thursday, and then Friday through to Saturday. Well, on Friday the rain is in the north, on Saturday the rain could be more in the south again. There is this front that's sort of stuck and trailing out into the Atlantic in that sort of position, so we could sort of find ourselves under a conveyor belt of pulses of rain actually over the weekend. And we get through to the early part of next week. Low pressure is still dominating the weather, bringing plenty of wet weather with it. Heading up to day 10, that's how we're looking. So just unsettled, continuing to be unsettled with more low pressure driving in from off the Atlantic. If you've been waiting for low pressure dominating weather, you're going to enjoy the next week to 10 days and beyond, definitely. This is from tamecho.com. This is the rainfall forecast for the next 10 days based on that ECM run. So today, got a little bit of showery rain coming across the country. Not that wet, actually, today, but the rain could pep up before it clears in this far southeastern corner. So it could get a bit heavier, actually, this rain across parts of East Anglia and southeast England as it clears away through this evening. Then tomorrow we're into sunshine and showers, and those sunshine and showers conditions also take us into Wednesday as well. Thursday might bring a more general area of rain across parts of England and Wales, showers continuing further north, and then we're into Friday, looking very wet in the north and west. On Friday, heavy rain for Scotland, Northern Ireland, North West England, drier in this southeastern corner on Friday, but then on Saturday we get this front that brings more pulses of rain, this time across England and Wales, whereas Scotland and Northern Ireland go back to sunshine and showers. You see how this rain is kind of continuous through Saturday and into Sunday, even down across the south. So just a continuous sort of conveyor belt of rain possible over the weekend. And then as we get through to the early part of next week, another pulse of very wet weather pushing up from the south, particularly affecting England and Wales. And the pulses of rain just keep coming really as we go through next week. Just more periods of wet weather in what is going to be a very wet and unsettled 10 days to come. That's how we finish up at day 10. Yes, you've guessed it, more rain is piling in from the Atlantic by day 10 on the 17th of October. So this is going to be a very, very unsettled week, 10 days to say the least. These are the options that are on the table for day 10 within the ECM ensembles today. So this is getting us to the 17th of October. We have 19 members of the ECM ensembles, including the operational and the control run. And of course, the operational run is a run that we've just been looking at. Looking very unsettled with these 19. Low pressure dominating the weather up to day 10, bringing those west to southwesterly winds. They're going to be very unsettled indeed. And then there's another 18, but again, has low pressure well and truly in control, bringing in the winds from west-southwest. These 14 just here have low pressure in control, but the only difference with these is that there's a bit more of a ridge to the east by day 10. So they're still unsettled, even these, with plenty of rain, I would have thought, but they're a bit warmer, probably bring the winds up from the south. But really, by up to day 10, all roads are leading to unsettled or very unsettled conditions. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 22nd of October, 24 members of the ECM ensembles looking like this. They've got low pressure weekly out to our west and bringing in a westerly flow. Just have a little bit of higher pressure to our south and southeast. Then these 14 are much more unsettled. These ones have just a deep trough in over the UK and the northwest of Europe, and a little bit more high pressure towards Greenland with those as well. So not only unsettled, they're potentially a little bit colder as well, I would have thought. And then 10 just here with low pressure up to our north, but some ridging down to our south. That possibly takes us into something just a little bit drier there as we're going into the 2 week period, day 14 period, possibly turning a little bit drier with those 10. But overall, this still looks, even up to 2 weeks away, a lot of the options are favouring unsettled conditions, I think. CFSV2 looks like this. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 7th to the 13th of October, and the coming week is looking unsettled. Low pressure dominated weather from the Atlantic through the UK into northern Europe. We have got some high pressure down towards Spain, so if you don't like wet weather, if you want some warmer, drier conditions, head down to Spain. It's going to be okay down there. Blocking up to the north as well, and bringing in the winds from the west, so it can be very unsettled in week ahead. Week 2 is going to be the 14th to 20th of October. Low pressure is still dominating out to the northwest, but we are building up this ridge to the south, so this would imply, certainly it's a warmer week, I would have thought. Winds are coming up from the southwest with that. And for southern parts of the country, it could be a little bit drier, but for the north and west would still be unsettled and potentially actually very wet with that. And then into week 3, it's the 21st to 27th of October. Low pressure remains well and truly in control of weather out to west of us. Have got a bit of ridging to our south and southeast. I would have thought all areas have the risk of some rain with that. The only plus side is it's probably quite warm once again with winds from the southwest. And then week 4 is the 28th of October to the 3rd of November. Very unsettled conditions. continue, so we can get rid of that and then put that back. Very unsettled conditions continue for week 4, 28th of October to 3rd of November, just again continuing to bring in those westerlies, trying to build up a bit of high pressure towards the north of Scandinavia in this week as well. So just a few hints at high pressure trying to get going towards the northwest of Russia and into Scandinavia. But for us, no influence from that really. We are having our weather driven by this low pressure in the Atlantic, even to the early part of November. Just say this is what the CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly is looking like for winter at the moment. This is for the full winter period, December, January, February 2019-2020. Unsettled low pressure is in from off the Atlantic into UK and Western Europe. We've got some high pressure down towards Spain, and the winds are from the west. So overall, a mild and unsettled winter being signalled, but there is a little bit of interest within the monthly breakdowns actually. So this is December's 700 millibar height anomaly, looking very westerly in December. High pressures from the Azores in towards Spain and Portugal. Low pressure is from the Atlantic. So that would just be a very sort of westerly Atlantic driven month in December. Mild, wet and windy potentially in December. And that sort of goes on into January as well. The ridge is a little bit weaker, though, in January, and more centred towards the west of Portugal. Low pressure is still coming in off the Atlantic. Notice some above average heights beginning to appear, though, around the south of Greenland. So possibly a little bit of cooler potential for January, although still a wet and unsettled month overall. And then that's February. So in February, the above average heights are sort of through the Med down into North Africa, below average heights out in the Atlantic into the UK. But notice this yellow appearing around Greenland, strengthening the blocking signal as the winter progresses. So even at this point, we're still generally mild with the CFS solution. We're still bringing in westerly winds, but over time it looks like the CFS wants to raise the heights up over Greenland. If that did happen like that, then the further on we get into the winter, the greater the chance that we would start to pull in cold air from the north. I mean, overall that is still a mild chart even for February, but as we're going along with those monthly periods, the heights are rising over Greenland, and it would imply that as the winter progresses, so the chance of colder weather increases, if you like. Anyway, it's just what CFS is showing today, still managing to give us a mild and wet winter, even though it's raising the heights over Greenland. But then that's the CFS. But it is a signal, perhaps, that as the winter progresses, the blocking signal increases, maybe. And that was showing up within our analogues, of course, in the winter update that we released yesterday. But that's all for fun, that's all experimental. The more reliable period is the next week to 10 days. It's going to be unsettled. Low pressure is going to be in control, bringing showers, if not longer spells of rain, going up to and probably even beyond days 8 to 10. We'll keep you updated through the week. That I'm sure will be the focus of the videos this week, to see how these unsettled charts are developing. Tomorrow, of course, got the ECMWF 4-week look ahead for the UK and for Europe as well, and another week 10-day video update coming up for you tomorrow. Also, don't forget to check out all of the long range stuff that we released yesterday. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.